Biotech and Big Pharma are waiting to see the extent of President Trump's tariff plans. Joining us now, Leonard Schleifer. He's founder, chair, and CEO of Regeneron. We've talked about so many modern-day success story. Len, you're still a young guy, and now it's it's a $70 billion company now, but at the height of things with the pandemic was well over $150 billion, a company you founded. What year?
1988.
1988. Phenomenal.
Pretty crazy.
You are not ready to just dismiss the use of tariffs out of hand, are you? You told me I'd be surprised at how many things you actually might be simpatico with as far as President Trump. And I agree with what you're saying. The rest of the world has been living off the innovation here and not spending money on innovating drugs or anything, but spending it on social programs that we'd like to do, but they get that peace dividend that we provide for them, and we develop all the innovation. That's not right.
No, I agree with you. Let's step back. Tariffs are a potential solution, but let's state what the problem is. The biotech industry, and I like to call it now the health defense industry.
Health defense.
Health defense. We should just be calling it health defense, just like military defense, so people understand how important it is. Think about what the industry has done. Not only is it a great economic machine, we started a company with just a handful, and all of a sudden we've got 15,000 employees, the vast majority in the United States. We spend more than $5 billion on R&D. It's an economic juggernaut, this industry. But more importantly, it's the health defense industry. We supply the solutions for what people need when there are pandemics. Remember, it was the biotech industry and the biopharmaceutical industry that saved the world. We did our part. We had our monoclonal. We saved President Trump when he was dying from COVID. And the vaccines were unbelievable that Pfizer and others put out. So the industry is really important. But the Europeans aren't paying for the innovation that creates these great drugs. And the industry is under threat if we don't pay for innovation.
And when we hear, and it's like a red herring that they don't charge people as much over there. Why can't we get those deals here? They have price controls over there.
If we got those deals here and we lowered the prices just like they were in Europe, there's be nothing to pay for
and
innovation.
There'd be no innovation.
So we have to do something.
So
they're ripping us off. I hate to say it.
They are in a bunch of ways.
So what's the number?
How do we solve the problem? Yeah. Well, one of the ways you could solve the problem is you can do it with treaties, but another is if they refuse to open up their markets to our drugs in a fair way, we could just charge them some sort of tax or tariff or something, and the government could use that money to offset what they spend on drugs in the United States. Some way there has to be an equilibration where they're paying their fair share. And just everybody running around, the ultra-left saying, well, we got to make drugs free, that isn't our system, and that doesn't create innovation. So we really have to think about how do we get the Europeans to have an open market.
Is that a message you've spoken with the administration about? Because it's certainly the message that they've sent when it comes to defense for Europe and other items. You hear J.D. Vance, and he certainly would buy into it.
I have not had a chance to have this discussion in depth yet with the administration. I hope to. I really believe that the concept of the Europeans, Canadians, ripping off our innovation is just not right. We have to do something about it so we can get these drugs, so we can get these vaccines, so we can have the innovation that the industry thrives upon.
Would you have voted for RFK Jr.? Would you have voted for RFK Jr. to lead the agency?
I'm not a United States Senator, so I don't know. I have to have seen it, but I'll tell you this. He kind of thinks outside the box. He's got some interesting ideas about food, but he needs a lot of help and expertise, in my opinion, on science. His advisors on science are really assaulting science, so we need to inform him better. I think, his mind is going to be like a parachute, I hope. It's going to be open and work better that way. He needs some help. We can give him help. I'd like to give him some help. He has to understand where these drugs come from. They just don't fall down and land in our laps. It takes years and years and years. Remember, Regeneron, you talk about a $100 billion company. For 25 years, we lost money every single year. Every single year for 25 years. Somebody had to pay for those losses. And that was investors, our ecosystem. And by the way, we need scientists. We need people training new scientists. There's a lot that it takes to make our industry healthy. But we also need fair pricing. And by the way, we also need affordability. Let me tell you an idea we have on affordability. You know, when you're 64 and you have a copay, the drug companies can just help you out if you're needy. The day you turn 65, and if you have an expensive cancer drug or a drug for blinding diseases of the eye, and it's administered by a doctor, these so-called Part B drugs, the copay can kill people with the stroke of a presidential pen. And I would challenge President Trump. The stroke of a presidential pen, he can let the drug companies help patients with the copay. This nonsense that if we don't, the copay prevents people from overusing expensive drugs. You think people want to take a cancer drug for the hell of it? They need it, for goodness sakes. And they can't afford the copay, and they can't afford it if they're going blind. It's wrong. We should fix that. His presidential pen can fix that. So there's two ideas right off the bat. Let's make sure the Europeans pay their fair share, and let's make sure that seniors who are getting doctor-administered drugs aren't getting killed by the copays. We can do these things. There's a inertia that's been overcome, and I think it's really quite possible that we can have change for the better, yet we can still get innovation. Remember, as I said, Trump was dying. We saved him. It came from innovation. We need that innovation.